welcome to my September reading roundup. It is fall. Fall scented candles are burning. The fall sweater is on. It's a good time. It's a good time. It's hurricane season also, but we won't talk about that. We have power now, so it's fine. This month started out strong. So I started this month with Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and I think that was the best thriller I've ever read. I read it in 24 hours. I could not put it down. It was 5 out of 5. Like, just so good. So the concept of the book is that there's this girl named Jules, and she is down on her luck, and she gets this opportunity to apartment sit in this iconic building in New York City. And one of the other apartment sitters disappears, and she starts to notice that like things are not as they seem in this building. I cannot say enough good things about this book, and obviously I'm just like trying not to say too much because I don't want to like spoil anything. Anyway, I loved it. I have like all of Riley Sager's books on hold from the library right now because I just love it. I can't say enough good things about that book. So that was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. The next book that I read in the month was also like stellar. I think I had a really good reading month this month. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Got that from my local library, and I took some notes because it's a short book, but it's also kind of like dense. Huge PTSD triggers. If you have PTSD, or if you are currently undergoing treatment for PTSD, or if you think that PTSD, especially wartime PTSD, triggers would be traumatic or triggering for you, maybe don't go into this one. It's following this man who had been in World War II, and he kind of like one of his like mental coping strategies for his PTSD is jumping through time. So you kind of see he's like having flashes throughout different points in his life. I really did enjoy the book though. I think it was cleverly written. I've seen that there is also a graphic novel version of this book, and that would be really cool to check out. I love all the anti-war messages. The foreword for the copy that I read was written by an American vet who served in Iraq. Like, he had said how it had influenced him in his life, and it was very interesting. One thing that kind of bothered me about the book was that the main character didn't really seem to have a lot of support from family for his PTSD. I found that kind of hard to read. It just made me sad. It's not like a happy-go-lucky book, but I think it's a very important read. It's kind of funny. Like, this isn't a good or a bad thing in any way, but like when I was reading it, I was like I have a degree in science. I was just reading it and I was like, wow, this feels like something that I would have read if like I had like my Bachelor of Arts in like literature or something. It's not anything good or bad, but it's like there's a lot going on there. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Another book that I read this month was Dracula by Bram Stoker. I would give it a 4 out of 5. It was like, I've heard it be described as ahead of its time. I can definitely see that. It was the first classic that I've ever read. And so I'm like patting myself on the back for finishing it. It was much longer than I anticipated. I read the copy that I had gotten from Project Gutenberg, and the print was very tiny, so it was like the page counts were off. So it was like, it said it was supposed to be like 300 pages on my Kobo, and it was like 700 pages. It was long. And there were parts of the book that were very, like, that were kind of fast paced. I wouldn't say very fast paced, but they were like more fast paced. And there were other points of the book and I was like, okay, like I get it. And I did listen to the audiobook along with reading it on my e-reader. And that was kind of good because there was points that I was like, oh, like I get it. Like I get what's going on here. I could just listen to it like while I folded laundry or did the dishes or something. My one caveat is I really didn't like how women were portrayed in this book. This book was originally published in like 1897. All through the book we're like, we must protect the women. We must protect them. We must save them. And every time they left the women unsupervised, shocker, something bad happens. It's like, will you never learn? And then at the end, like, or nearing the end of the book, they were like, oh no, we don't know how we're gonna catch the count and how are we gonna do it. And like the one woman who's alive that's left is like, don't worry guys, I got you. I memorized all the train schedules, all the waterways. I know the direction of the flow and the moon and the sun, and I know how you're gonna get there. And she comes in and she saves the day. Like, obviously. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about it, because it was like, throughout the book, she was like trying so hard to be like useful and helpful to the cause of like finding and getting rid of the Count. And then like the only way that the men would kind of let her help was to like take notes and transcribe and stuff, which like I get, like that's like, it was written in the late 1800s, like that was kind of like what it was at the time. So all of that aside, I think it was like, for like my first classic, finished 4 out of 5. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Next book that I got and read was The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the illustrated edition. It's illustrated by Alan Lee. He was the conceptual artist for Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. And this is just like the most gorgeous book that I own. This is the first time I've read The Hobbit. So it follows the story of Bilbo Baggins and his journey through Middle Earth, joining a band of dwarves, and helps them in their quest to reobtain their treasure. And I haven't rated this yet. I haven't said my rating. 5 out of 5. New favorite. I loved this book. It's cozy, it's atmospheric, like great book to read in fall time. If you are a lover of The Hobbit, highly recommend checking it out. It's just gorgeous. It came out this edition came out in 2020. It's like a piece of art, and I love it. And I bought Fellowship of the Ring, and I intend to buy the rest of the series. Also, I didn't realize this, but one of the newer versions of the audiobook, I don't know if it's new, the actor that plays Gollum, he narrates the audiobook, and I'm gonna put it on hold through the library, I think, and because I'm sure there'll be a long wait for it, and read along and listen to his narration. I think that would be so fun and so cool. So that was The Hobbit. The next book that I read this month was Pumpkinheads. It is a graphic novel, and it is written by Rainbow Rowell, awesome name, and illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks, who is a Canadian illustrator. Fun fact. This graphic novel is like if there was a Disneyland just for fall time. So it's about these 2 high school students, and they work in a pumpkin patch, and like it takes place in this pumpkin patch. It's the opening flap there. Oh, you can't see the glare. And it's like their last season before they graduate high school, working in this pumpkin patch. And it follows 2 friends, Deja and Josiah, and Josiah has always liked this girl who also works at the pumpkin patch, but he's never had the nerve to talk to her, and it's kind of like it's our last chance, like Deja's like, I gotta help you meet this girl of your dreams, let's go do that. And so it's kind of like a scavenger hunt through the pumpkin patch and like I want to live here, wherever this is. I think this is a new like fall comfort read. I read it in like an hour because like it's a graphic novel, but it is so sweet and so heartwarming, and I just love it so very much. There is LGBTQ plus representation in this graphic novel, and I really liked the like body representation in this novel also. Like no one is inherently super skinny or like looks like every other animated character ever. I really liked that. I just thought it was really wholesome. I really liked it, and I will be rereading it time and time again. I'll probably read it again before the end of this season, and then I will read it every fall thereafter. And yeah, so that was it for this month's reading wrap up. Tea break. Oh, the tea's getting cold. Yeah, so that was it for this month's reading wrap up. I did find that reading, I was trying to do too many things at once. So I bought The Hobbit and I was like, I gotta read it. And then I was like, oh, I gotta read Dracula too. And I think reading those two together was like a bit much, because like there were times when Dracula got quite dry and I was like, oh, I want to read it, but I really wanted to read The Hobbit anyway. So it's just kind of like, but yeah, it was a good month. I read, what, 5 books? Well, 4 books and 4 novels and 1 graphic novel. I wouldn't call that bad. I couldn't pick a favorite, like one favorite. Like my top 3 are like the ones that I gave 5 stars. Oh, did I rate the graphic novel? The graphic novel, Pumpkinheads, was 5 out of 5 also. Yeah. Just a lovely month of reading. And I can't wait to read more spooky things next month for October. I don't think I'm going to do any more classics this month. I think I'm going to take a break. I want something a little bit more like fast paced. So thank you so much for listening. What have you been reading this month? I would love to know. Were any of the books that I read your favorites? Have a lovely day. Hope you're enjoying the fall season. Can't wait to see you in the next video, guys. Take care. Bye.